science fiction is like the spoonful of sugar. It has always been a way for us to tell stories about who we are today, the things that we're dealing with, and to do it in a way that's fun and entertaining, and maybe you don't really know that you're getting the medicine.
Martian Manhunter is an alien from Mars. He's the only surviving being from this planet. His people, all of his people were killed.
Probably suffers PTSD, survivor's guilt, host of things.
I really love comparing Martian Manhunter and Jon Jones to Superman, because I think on the surface level they're very similar. They have similar superpowers.
With the shape-shifting abilities, phasing abilities.
I'm sorry.
The ability to read people's minds.
For what?
Clark Kent and Superman are able to be successful because, in part, they look human.
My name is John.
John's natural appearance would probably trigger everybody's bigotry, no matter what.
What is it? What the God? You see that?
I wonder if Superman hanging out with Martian Manhunter would sensitize Clark a little bit more to the fact that he's not actually human, and also sensitize him a little bit more to minority issues in his own life and minority issues in general.
You're the last. You're like me.
The similar themes of being the last of his people and learning about humanity and coming from a doomed civilization, those are all things that we associate with some of our greatest heroes. And Jon Jones is no different.
Jon Jones is the ultimate outsider. He will never look like the people that he shares a home with, pushes him into that category of even being further other than Superman can.
I was the only survivor, the last of my kind.
When you read stories about Martian Manhunter, there's a lot to identify with. When you come from a war-torn civilization, and then you're suddenly in a whole new world. I think that there's probably a lot there for immigrants to connect to, and it's specifically because the foundation was built by immigrants, and that's always been the backbone of comic book storytelling. Man of Tomorrow begins with young Clark Kent watching a movie.
I know what you are. You're
An alien?
I think the way that Clark watches this 50s sort of B sci-fi movie helps start us on his journey.
I remember the first time I saw that in Darwin Cook's masterpiece comic book, DC: The New Frontier. I could look back to my upbringing and go, yeah, my parents who come from Mexico were also absolutely watching movies and television. That was part of their assimilating to whatever the culture was where we were.
Comic books also are a really handy way to learn a language because they have the visual cue to everything that's being said.
Pop culture is sort of the most honest representation of who we are as humans.
That's the genius of Darwin Cook. I feel like he tapped into that really great angle for Jon Jones for Martian Manhunter. And I feel like even since that book, a lot of that has influenced how he's been depicted in other areas of pop culture since then.
Martian Manhunter's most endearing quality, that in spite of all this hardship, he's still a good guy, and he still tries to see the best in people.
I should never have revealed my natural form.
Everybody at one point or another feels like an outsider. To live in a time the way John lives on Earth, in a time of great xenophobia, it explains a lot about who he is, why he makes the choices he makes, why shape-shifting is one of his most important powers. I think it's implied that he's seen some of the worst of us, certainly in America.
You can't change me.
If you know anything about the history of Mars in the comics, The destruction of that civilization was very much because of a race war. Identity and how one presents oneself. You'd have to think that John Jones has a lot to say about that, and it informs all of his decisions about how he presents himself to the Earth.
John came from this war-torn planet that was all about ethnic cleansing and all about the red Martians killing green Martians. He escaped all that and then landed on a planet where beige and slightly darker beige was a major problem. Yet, he still forces himself to see the best in people.
It's kind of tragic that he feels that he must still hide himself from the rest of Earth, from the rest of the world, because he and his compatriots are involved in stories about acceptance. He's one of those heroes.
I recruited you so that I would honor that promise and protect you as if you were my own child.
We grew up with comic books, but from my perspective, comic books grew up with us. The richness of the stories that have been told in comics, in animation, in movies.
Please come home.
It's only gotten stronger, it's only gotten deeper. In much the same way that our view of the world and our understanding of humanity gets deeper as we get older.
This world is beginning to see me as some sort of champion.
It's not surprising that the first superhero was an illegal immigrant who was fortunate enough to be easily assimilated.
They are foreign to me as well.
The fun thing about going back and exploring the origins of these characters, a lot of these origins come from the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, and the world then was different than it is today.
Comics, I think they're the purest reflection of what it is to be human, what it can mean to people of diverse experiences when they see themselves represented.
And because we fill them with these mythic heroes, who are all larger-than-life examples of the best of human beings, stories like Martian Manhunters and stories like Superman, they help keep the American way from straying too far away from truth and justice.
Humanity is to have a chance to thrive. We mustn't further stoke its fears.